everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to Shop Talk Tuesday. Where's everybody chiming in from? Hey Jeremy, what's going on, man? Sophie Nelson, hello. So if you guys have seen the title, I said I need to talk. But I just wanted to go over with you guys a few things. First of all, I hope you guys enjoyed the last video with me starting the office, computer desk for my office. This is my first time attempting something like this, and I'm really excited to use the epoxy on this project. So we're going to have a lot of things to work through, and I'll be learning pretty much just as much as you guys will be, as long as you hang out with me while we're going through this series. So second star to the right is from Alberta, Canada. How you doing? Hey, Renee Porter. Hey, Mom. Titan Glass 88. I'm out on the Oregon coast. What's going on, Titan Glass? Kula from Cyprus. Hey. So your table has been looking really good. I enjoy I'll enjoy seeing those pictures. Trip and Tim 05 from Genevieve, Missouri. Is that MO? Am I right there? Jeremy says, whenever my wife says I need to talk, it usually isn't a good thing. Jordan, Woodworks, what's up? William, whoop whoop, says, whoop whoop, gonna be crooked as heck. Okay, all right, Trip and Tim. So guys, I'm really excited about this desk that I'm making. It looks really cool. I wanted to kind of go over with you guys kind of what my process is getting into this table. So it's a little different than what I normally do, and I'm kind of winging it at the same time. So it's going to be pretty cool. So one thing you will see in the next video coming up is the diamond shapes that are in the table. I took some silicone caulk and I caulked the seams so that epoxy can't run under, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some white pearl and fill those up so that it's going to look really, really nice. But I've had a few people comment and ask, how am I going to keep this a computer desk and have a flat surface when all the boards are uneven, which is a great question. So before I get to that, I want to read some of these comments. So Erica Norton says, hello from Florida, new sub here. How's it going, Erica? Thank you for subscribing. That's awesome. Robert Weber, or Bob Weber from Mesa, Arizona. No problem at all, William. Lost Sailor says, sup, Nathan? What's going on, bud? Jeremy says, was going to ask how you're going to seal those. Okay, so this question that I'm going to be answering is twofold. And real quick, before I go into that, William says, LED backlit behind the pearl. I do have some LEDs. I don't have a power supply at the moment, but I haven't talked to my wife about that. We'll see what she says. Lost Sailor says, good to see you again, brother man. It's good to see everybody tonight here too. So, real quick. So we had a company reach out to me with a new type of epoxy, and it's called Liquid Glass Super Clear 2.0, and it's made by Fiberglass Coatings Incorporated. And this is the epoxy that they sent me, and that's the one I've been telling you guys that you can pour up to 6 inches thick and you don't have to seal it. But I'm going to test them on their word, and with the computer desk, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this without sealing any of the boards. I'm going to build a form around the desk and fill it up using this epoxy here. And we'll see. We'll put it to the test, and we'll see if it generates any bubbles or not. So Richard Collins says, hi from Michigan's heartland. How's it going, Richard? Sophie Nelson says, my brain is excited. I just thought how cool it would be to make a river computer desk. Maybe that's not your goal, but maybe I'm going to steal that idea. So totally steal that. As a matter of fact, I was going to do some sort of slab table at first, but as you guys know, that tends to be expensive sometimes. And so my wife encouraged me to see what we could come up with using stuff that we already have in the shop. So she's really smart, and I have learned to listen to her and her ideas. So as you can tell, she has a really good, her taste is really good. Obviously, she picked me, so. William Wagman says, believe it when I see it. Hey, Will, same thing, man. I feel it right there. Hopefully it works, though, because that'd be pretty sweet. Lost Sailor says, Hobby Lobby has battery-operated fairy lights with little LEDs for lighted projects. Well, that's pretty cool. I do have the LEDs. I just need the power supply. So hopefully I can pick up one of those relatively easily. Second Star to the right says 6 inches thick and no seal. Wow, I know. That's what I'm thinking. Trippin' Tim says there's going to be a lot of bubbles. Hey, man, don't jinx us. Hopefully, I hope that it works. Aaron Percha, is that how you say it? Aaron Percha says, is it cheaper than Stone Coat? It's actually around about the same price as Stone Coat. So this kit is 1 gallon, and I think it was around $90 for the gallon, maybe a little less. I have to look that up for you. William Wagman says, what's the cure time on that stuff? So the cure time is 72 hours for a full cure. So it takes a while to cure. I think that's how they're getting around the bubble issue, is that because it takes such a long time to cure, the bubbles have a chance to rise to the surface and pop. Richard Collins says it's going to be fantabulous. Yeah. I hope it actually. Hopefully it actually works. Erica Norton says, does the silicone ruin the epoxy resin? I hear that epoxy does not like water-based paints, humidity. So I'm wondering how it does with silicone. So the epoxy, it doesn't really damage the the silicone doesn't damage the epoxy, but it will resist. It won't stick to the silicone. I'm using the silicone just to fill it, so that it doesn't leak in between the diamonds. And because I'm filling it with white and then doing an entire seal coat over it, it should encapsulate everything. I should be fine. And I haven't heard about epoxy I've never heard that it doesn't like water-based paints. I'm assuming that's if you're using a water-based paint that's wet and trying to mix it with the epoxy. I would say that doesn't work. But as far as using water-based paints as a base, I think you're okay, because the Behr Paint and Primer in 1 is water-based paint, and you can thin it with water. So and that's what Stone Coat uses for all their bases before they epoxy. So William says, keep your fans on standby. That's a great tip. Exactly. When you pour a really thick pour with epoxy, it does generate heat. It's an exothermic reaction, and that's a great way to counteract that, especially here in Virginia. The past couple weeks has been like 95 degrees outside, and my shop is not climate controlled, so I have a fan in there for those situations. Matteo Juan Clemente, hello from Canada, from Kelowna. How do you say that? What's going on? How you doing? No problem, Erica. Jennifer Wilson says, here from Minnesota. How you doing? How you doing, Jennifer? I'm glad you guys showed up this evening. It's good to see you guys again. Thanks for hanging out with us on Shop Talk Tuesday. And just for all you newcomers here this evening, this is a time where you guys can talk amongst each other or with me and just ask any kind of questions that you're having with epoxy or woodworking, and this community will do our best to answer your questions. So feel free to ask away. There's no such thing as a stupid question, just stupid people won't ask them. Aaron Hungay says, wipe your diapers. Been 112 here, but I feel you, buddy. Man, 112 degrees. Aaron, did you say you're from Arizona? Rusty says, humidity in Michigan has put a stop to my epoxy work at the moment. Yeah, so humidity does take a toll on the way that epoxy cures and creates bubbles and all that stuff. So yeah, it is ideal. Even if you do have a fan, it kind of will get the humidity away from the epoxy, but it won't fully rid it. So William Wackman says, next Cheapskate date. So that's a great question. I was thinking about that. That was one of the things that I needed to talk to you guys about, which is what the title of this video said. So, excuse me one second. Get yourself some LaCroix. These are delicious. Non-sponsor. So let's go ahead and let's make it, set your calendar, have a nice big calendar here. Go ahead and set your guys' calendar to, let's do August 31st. So we're gonna do August 31st for the next Cheapskate challenge. And as always with those, make sure that your entries are in at midnight. And now, so that's the date. I haven't fully come up with the rules as of yet because I have some really cool ideas for the rules. So you guys stand by. We will talk about that one next Tuesday when I have it all sorted. But so far, you can mark it down on your calendars for August 31st at midnight to have your entries in. And if you guys haven't heard about the Cheapskate Challenge, is every other month or so. This will actually be the third one coming up. What we do is I invite you guys to enter this contest, the Cheapskate Challenge, and we have various different rules. It's different each time to get you guys active and working with me and working with each other and show everyone what kind of talent you guys have. And it's always really fun to see what you guys come up with. So let me get to some of these comments here real quick before I lose them. Rusty Merkin says, click that like button too, new people. Thanks, Rusty. I appreciate that, man. Aaron says, yes, sir. Makes me start at 5 a.m., but I'm napping by 1. Sophie says, how much is a computer-sized piece of cool wood to make my stolen river idea? Well, that all depends on the species of wood, but you could totally get one that's long enough that you could rip and use as a river table for, $100 probably, which is pretty good for a slab of wood. I got a piece of pecan. If you guys have seen one of my most popular videos, which is a pecan coffee table, the slab that came from was only $50 because it had a bend in it. And so you guys can always keep your eyes out. You can always cut the bend out and still have a lot of usable wood. So always keep your eyes out for wood that people are throwing away. They always look pretty cool when you plane them down and epoxy them and stuff like that. So Jeremy says, Rusty Merkin, where in Michigan you at? So Matteo says, what's the price of that epoxy? So if I remember correctly, it's around, for a gallon, it's around $90. So it's actually a little bit less expensive than Stone Coat countertops, but we don't know the quality as of yet. They say it's really good, and I do trust what they say, but I want to put it to the test as well. So you guys, this coming week, we will be putting that epoxy to the test. Aaron says, whoa. Most of my live edge slabs are 2 inches thick. If I want to do a river with one single pour, is Stone Coat the way to go? Do not want to fight bubbles. Aaron, yes. Stone Coat's Supercast can cast up to 3 inches thick in a single pour. But the best way to fight bubbles is to seal those edges. You want to do 3 seal coats on your edges to make sure that no bubbles are gonna come through. So great question. Build for fun. Good man right there. Hey, what's going on, man? How are you doing? How is how are the views on your last video? Hey guys, check out Build for Fun on YouTube. He's an up and coming guy doing epoxy work as well. He's been chatting with me on Facebook, asking me some questions about YouTube and stuff like that, but you go over there and check out his channel too. His name is Justin, and he has some pretty cool ideas on his channel as well. If you guys like turning, he's got a lot of turning, wood turning, with the lathe on his channel, so go check him out. William Wagman says, had an idea, grow your own crystals epoxy project, metal or mineral. That is a pretty cool. Hey, Will, do you have any pictures? I'd like to see something like that. Gypsy Danger 454. Hey, bro, love the channel. Quick question about using epoxy to make a fire pit table. How well can epoxy handle heat? If I were to make a table and then cut out the center and drop the fire bowl in it. So I would not recommend that for two reasons. One, epoxy can handle up to, I think it's around 280 degrees, but the heat from the fire pit will mess that up if it has steady heat on it. So I would actually not do that. But what you could do is probably have bricks around it and have that fire pit sit on the bricks, and maybe the table could sit back, even though it's fully around it, it could sit away from the actual bowl, because the bowl is going to get hot and it could totally mess up the epoxy, because epoxy does, when it gets hot, it does bend and move and stuff like that. So I don't think that would be a good decision to use it touching the fire bowl. But if it was back a little bit from the fire bowl, I think it'd be perfectly fine. Erica Norn says, Rusty, I went through an entire gallon of epoxy for a desktop. Still need to use more because the humidity was just not working out with the curing process at all. Coolest says, great, new challenge, new rules. That's right. I got to figure out those rules for you guys. So as soon as I get a chance this week, I'll make sure I'll write down these rules and get them to you for the next Cheapskate challenge. Cheapskate challenge number 3. Trippin' Tim 05 says, because of your channel, I did my own desktop epoxy table. It's a 3x6 foot table with pallet boards as the wood for the top. It took 4. That's not 1, 2, or even 3, but 4 gallons of epoxy. I know, man. Isn't that crazy? That river table that I did for that yacht took 12 gallons. I estimated about 11, and I added 1 more just in case, and it actually used all 12 gallons. So it's crazy. Rich Toto says, Nathan, any ideas for an outdoor safe epoxy? So Rich, yes, most epoxy is safe outdoors. It's not gonna hinder it. It will, the UV from the sun will amber or yellow the epoxy. So if you have a lighter color like white or cream, you will notice it more than others. So as long as the table is outdoors, I would just recommend throwing a tarp over it when it's not in use, just to preserve it for a little longer. All epoxy ambers and yellows, some resist it a little bit better than others. Second star to the right said, it would be killer if you made a wall hanging, it just refreshed, hold on a second. Wall hanging of XRP and a ripple water effect out of epoxy. There's about 1 million XRP fans that would kill for that. Well, second star to the right, could you PM me on Instagram at Goodview Woodworks and let me know what XRP is, because I do not know and I'm real sorry that I don't know. But I am interested, so send me a picture to either Instagram or Facebook, whichever one that you have, both at Goodview Woodworks. Jeremy P says, so I bought a large slab of willow, which is at least 2 inches thick. Anyone have any good ideas for it, being that it's a softer wood? Jeremy, if you're going to put an epoxy on top, I think you're good, man. People use willow for chairs and furniture all the time. It's just if you don't put a hard enough finish on top, it does gouge and stuff like pine does. Rich Toto says, Detroit Metro here too, Waterford. Second star to the right says, can't wait to see how that massive pour goes. Will you have assistants to help you? No, I will not. At the moment, I may. That's a good idea. I might have to do that. Build for Fun says, thanks for all your advice, bro. No problem, Justin. Sean Felton says, good morning. It's 9:30 a.m. in Melbourne, as you guys say, right? Did I say it right? Do you? He says, do you have a list of Australian wood you'd like to have a play with? Actually, I am not familiar at all with that. So, man, if you want to hook me up, I am good with anything. Um, William Wagner says, of course. Gary Burkett, all the way from UK. Love your videos. Inspired me to have a go myself at at tabletops. I'm a work in progress. Keep posting the videos. Totally, Gary. There is a learning curve, and so I'm trying to help you guys make that curve a little shorter, so it's easier for you guys. PWP packaging says pecans are laying on the ground or fresh off the tree. Pecans you find in the store are usually unbagged. Great tip. Great. So, what are you saying? Should I make a table out of just pecan shells? Steve Bailey says, looks like you had a great time at Stonecoat. Steve, I sure did. It was great. Mike over at Stonecoat, he's an awesome guy. He amps it up a little bit on his videos, but pretty much how you see him in the videos, how he is in person. Mattio, hopefully I'm saying your name right. Sorry if I botch it. Back to work for me. Got to finish milling some black locust. Take care, everybody. Hey, man, thanks for hanging out with us during this Shop Talk Tuesday. It was good to see you. Rich Toast says, yep, yelling is what I was afraid of, but I'm tinting a dark blue. So, yeah, Rich, I think that if you have a dark color like that, it doesn't show up as well because you can't really tell that it yellowed because the background is so dark. But if it is a white, it will show up because then it'll look like a faded white. Sean Felton says, spot on with the pronunciation. Okay, cool, man. Oh, that's awesome. Let's Go 304 says, any experience with Ligari's products? No, I have watched their videos. They have some really cool stuff, and they say that they don't have any bubbles come up. Like you don't even have to torch theirs, and so I would like to try it one day, but I have not. They seem like a company that would be pretty cool to use some of their epoxy as well. So guys, some ideas that I have for this table for my office. What I'm going to do is, if you guys didn't hear, some of you guys have showed up a little bit later, is once I pour the diamond shape, pour the pearl epoxy for the diamond shapes, what I'm going to do is build a form around one that's removable. So I won't be using any screws that mount it to the actual table. However, I will use screws to mount the boards to themselves, so I'm not damaging it, but also I'm going to use silicone all the way around and tape. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a temporary form around the entire thing and fill that with this new brand of epoxy. And hopefully the look I'm going for is I want it to look rustic and I want it to look uneven, but I want it to be smooth so I can still write on top. So the cool thing about this video, that series that I have coming up, what we're going to do is we already went over the main assembly of the desk. And so the next video is going to be about pouring the epoxy and testing out this new epoxy to see if there's any bubbles. The third video, I'm going to show you how I'm going to mount it to the wall in my office because it's going to be more like a floating desk. We will have some, we will have some file cabinets, some really nice file cabinets underneath. I know I just said nice file cabinets, like that's like an oxymoron, but they are pretty cool. Set of drawers that go underneath. But so the next video will be showing how to mount that to the wall. And then finally, what I'm going to do is I am not a big fan of the super high gloss epoxy. So I'm going to go through the process of sanding it through the grits and buffing it to a satin to semi-gloss finish so you guys can see how to finish epoxy if you don't want that high gloss finish. Steve Bailey says, "Hey Nathan, portable sawmill here. Sawmill here. Let you know, almost got website finished for you to check out some wood slabs." Hey Steve, I appreciate that, man. As soon as you get it up, let me know, and I'll be sure to go in there and check some stuff out, and possibly go over there and get something from you too. So I'm always in the market looking for some wood slabs. So yeah, let us know what. Even if you wanted to, if you had it up by next week, you can always post your. If you could even do, if you even want to do a super chat and have it stick to the top of the screen, you could totally do that and put your email address up there. I mean, excuse me, your web page address up there, and everybody can see it. So if anybody else wanted some wood too, they could get it as well. Sean Fellon says, "Search Australian timber species. Iron bark and red gum can bring amazing finishes." Okay, Sean, I totally will, man. So thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to look it up, and I'll get back to you. Sean, do you have, what's your Instagram handle? I'll PM you. Aaron Hungate says, "Solid pearl, as in a lot of product or translucent. Last time I used pearl, I didn't use much, and it didn't turn out like I wanted." So, no, what I mean is more of a, what's the word? I don't want you to be able to see through it. More opaque. I want to have a more of an opaque finish, so you won't be able to see it. So, I've done white pearl before, and if you make it really thick, it's really cool. You can see the pearlescent effect from the pearls if you use a lot. So, Steve Bailey says, "Right now only have Facebook running." Oh, that's cool. Steve, so do I just look up portable sawmill? How do I get to you on Facebook? Maybe you've already messaged. No, you've already messaged me. Yeah, sorry. I'll go back there. And do you have some of the wood stuff? Do you have some of the slabs up on your Facebook page? Excuse me. No problem, Steve. Erica Norton says, "Which inks would you use for pigment, if any?" Okay, so that's a great question. I have not used very many ink pigments at all, so I have very little experience with it. However, I did order one on Amazon, which I'll be using for the conference table coming up, the black walnut. If you guys saw that big slab, the video of the big slab, I'll be using some black pigment there. It won't be a pigment powder. It will be a dye. So that'll be a first for me as well. Jeremy P says, "Thinking of doing a mini dehumidifier kiln. Anyone have any experience with one?" That's a great question. I wish I could help you out with that. I have zero experience with dehumidifier kiln. Steve Bailey says, "Also, you can check us out on Instagram." Okay. What's your Instagram handle, Steve? Trippin' Tim says, "Can't wait to see the pearl." Second star to the right says, "Okay, send to Facebook Messenger." Hey, second star to the right. Appreciate that. Let's Go 304 says, "Bombay inks are used a lot." So, guys, I'm new to this too, so I'm going to have to check some of these out as well. Rusty Merkin says, "At Erica, I use acrylic." Yeah, Rusty knows a lot too, guys. He uses a bunch of different methods to tint his epoxy, and probably has a wealth of knowledge that we all could learn a little bit from. Sean Fellon says, "I'm heading to the local sawmill today. If I can find something decent and for a decent price, I'll be happy to try and send it to you. I'll keep you updated." All right, Sean. Hey, man, I really appreciate that. Steve Bailey says, "Portable sawmill." Okay, so that's okay. I'll look that up on Instagram. Cameron says, "Are you in Virginia?" I think hopefully you're talking to me. Yes, I am in Virginia. Born and raised Virginia boy. Rusty Murray says, "Nathan, I don't know if you've seen that Ghoul Wrangler sign on my Insta, but that started life as a piece of MDF. It weathered nicely, in my opinion." No, but now I'm gonna go check it out. So I'm definitely gonna see it now. Nakota, Area 51 is prime for raiding. Not sure what that means. Sean Felton says, only on Facebook at this stage. Cameron says, sweet, I live in Harrisonburg. Okay, that's not too far from where I am. I live in near Saluda. So, Michael Underwood, not sure if you answered this. What is your suggestion for food safe finish on live edge cutting board? So, for a food safe finish, I would always go with mineral oil. You could do a mixture of mineral oil and beeswax is the best finish because the beeswax gives it a little bit of strength, and the mineral oil keeps it nice and oiled and won't let it crack and dry out. So I would do a 3-to-1 mixture of melted beeswax and mineral oil. Second star to the right says, is there any way to add something to the epoxy for backlights? That would be cool. So yes, you can. I've seen it before where people have laid LEDs in first and then filled it in with resin and have the wires coming out, obviously, so they can connect a power supply. So that's always an option. Excuse me, it's getting a little dark in here. Let me turn the lights on. Erica Norton says, I love Virginia, Florida, not so much. So what's wrong with Florida? We like to visit there. I've only been there a few times, but it seems nice when I've been there. Rusty Merkin says, I use an actual aluminum and copper flake in the lettering as well. Dude, Rusty, I'm going to have to check that out, man. I'm sorry that I haven't seen that yet. Erica Norton says, West Virginia is beautiful too. Love the mountains. Yeah, my wife and I love West Virginia. So let's go 304 says he's in West Virginia, or he or she. They are in West Virginia, so yeah, West Virginia is really pretty. I really like West Virginia. My wife used to live there, and it's fun to travel up through the mountains and see how pretty it is, nice and green. Steve Bailey says, super large city of Saluda, Virginia, LOL, greatest small town on the East Coast. Yeah. Rusty says, my Insta is at Rusty Merkin. If anyone wants to check it out, I just started a business page as well at Rusty's Woodworks. Yeah, go check him out. Rusty's a pretty cool guy. He has very artistic. He has a lot of cool ideas and is always one of the, how do I say this? I'm terrible with words sometimes. His stuff always looks really cool, but it's very unique and out of the box. So really cool stuff. You guys need to go check his out. David Hoyt says, I have family in Virginia, Virginia Beach, and Richmond. I lived in Virginia Beach for 8 years. Great place. Erica Norton says, is there a way to keep epoxy from yellowing in the sun? No, there is not. It will always, no matter what brand it is, will always yellow in the sun. However, there are certain brands that have better UV inhibitors in them, like Stone Coat Countertops Art Coat has really high UV inhibitors in it, and that would probably be the best way to go. So to me, that'd be the best way to go if it's going to be in direct sunlight. Steve Bailey says, thanks for the West Virginia likes. Born and bred there. Bread. That's funny. Rich Toto says, I keep meaning to ask you, I see the VW swag in the garage and know you used to have a bus. Do you still? I still have a bus, yes, still there. It is a 1975 bay window with a high top conversion. So it was converted from the factory, but it has an adventure wagon conversion. So 2 beds, sink, stove, refrigerator, heater, AC, all the stuff that was like top of the line back in 1975. No problem, Erica. Second Star of the Right says, if it yellows in the sun, then work with it. Jurassic Park bugs trapped in amber. Yeah, there you go. It can always start out as clear, then you purposely put it in the sun to make it turn to amber. Trippin Tim 05 says, hey man, I love your channel, and this is the first time on the live stream. I've seen most of your videos you got, but I have to get up early, 12:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, so I'll catch this later. As always, stay funny. Hey, Trippin Tim, I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm glad you came and hung out with us this evening. It's awesome. Hopefully I'll see you next Tuesday. Rich Toda says, nice, we're a VW family and I'm hunting for a Westie again. Hey, Rich, that's awesome. Yeah, so we have had several Volkswagens. I've had a 74 Super Beetle. Well, I still have a 74 Super Beetle. I've had Jetta Sport Wagon, TDI, Turbo S, New Beetle. What else? There's a few others, I think. Oh, Cabrio. I've had Passat. I've had a few of them myself. So I'm a fan of Volkswagen, and actually recently I had an Audi A4 Avant Quattro, and it put the worst taste in my mouth. That car was terrible, but I really like the air-cooled Volkswagens. That's mostly what I'm into. Second Star of the Right says, LOL, VW bugs trapped in amber. That'd be pretty cool. Well, guys, I thank you guys for coming out this evening. It's been a blast. I want to thank everyone for showing up and hanging out and talking and just making this community great. You guys are awesome, and thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for making it so much fun. So you guys, I'm out of here, and like I always say, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Peace.